What's up, you all? I'm gonna let you all come in. I'm gonna let you all come in.
It sounds like you want to be an advocate.
Let me
Darrell Brooks is.
What's up, y'all? I'm gonna keep it short today. What's up, King Tabernacle? What's up, the Ice Cold Wolf? What's up, Shima? Shay MS, my bad. Shay MS9. What's up, Heather? Today I'm gonna just have some videos of Darrell Brooks' mother, and then I'm gonna have a clip of a bunch of sovereign citizens in court, so we can get a good glimpse of how this sovereign citizenship thing works when they go to court. What's up, Kenya Jahan? What's up, Destro? So let me go live real quick. Let me see. So on the screen right now on Instagram, I have Sean King on here. You all know my thoughts on Sean King. Sean King is an informant. He's working for the system, obviously. So I guess today on Twitter, a whole bunch of tweets were coming out using the N word. You know, now this is why I know it's fake, because nothing is that convenient. And so what they do is they've got people on racism autopilot. You know, Sean King is an agent. I never trusted him. You know, he's working for the people. Nobody, I don't know anybody that actually fools with Sean King. I don't. But yet he has a lot of followers, a lot of traction, and I don't know anybody that actually looks at Sean King as a voice of the people. Right. King Tabernacle say he's a high level agent. And that's what I'm gonna say about him is that he's a high level agent. Now, he's basically saying that Elon Musk is the bad guy because he wants to let Twitter be free speech. Elon Musk is another agent. Elon Musk is working with the B system. Elon Musk wants the computer chips in your head. I got a video coming with Elon Musk in it where Elon Musk talks about technology that they have. You'll be able to, a human being will be able to be a butterfly. So Elon Musk not a good person. I'm not defending him, but I'm just saying that Sean King is a puppet and an agent for black people. He gets black people riled up, even though his popularity to me is not really amongst black people. I don't hear anybody talk about Sean King, but I assume he appeals to the educated black people, the educated folks. But he's an agent. But anyway, today on Twitter, they had a whole bunch of racist tweets going around, and to me, it's just BS. You've never heard Sean King talk about all the pornography on Twitter, all the debauchery on Twitter, all the bad things on Twitter. You've never heard Sean King talk about the death, destruction, and damnation that I've seen on Twitter. It's just ironic to me that literally I have seen everything on Twitter, but they banned Donald Trump from Twitter. So I should let you know it's a setup. I don't trust that. But Sean King is a trickster. Somebody said King Tabernacle said Elon Musk was a magician and a trickster. I would say the same thing as with Sean King. What's up, Venus? What's up, Boris? Well, Darrell Brooks, I'm about to get on Darrell Brooks, but I wanted to just start with Sean King and his little racist claims on Twitter. But we can all agree that Twitter is the land of debauchery. And for them to pick and choose what's bad when it comes to race is ridiculous. But again, all those racist tweets were either created by liberals or black people. No, I don't believe this racist stuff out here because I can pull up story after story of black people perpetuating hate crimes. Case in point, Juicy Smollett. So we've seen this often. All this stuff is propaganda and fake. Folks don't have enough time in their day to worry about being racist. I just don't believe it. There's just too much stuff going on. I'm sorry. That's why when the folks, the little anti-Jewish group in LA on the 405, that's why it was only 7 people on the freeway. Ain't nobody got time to do it. Folks got to work, take care of their family, feed themselves, or just be a worthless liberal and just lay around all day. Whatever the case is, they don't have time to get up out of their bed and stand on freeways and throw up neo-Nazi symbolism, or as Sean King likes to think, they're on Twitter putting a whole bunch of racist tweets. I don't buy it. The guy in the upper left-hand corner, Che, is Sean King. You know who Sean King is. You know who Sean King is. I did a little close-up of him to let y'all see him because really, I think he's white. He could, back in the day, he could have passed. Let me go to so there was a comment on my page today from oh shoot, that's the wrong one. Let me put that one down. Shoot. That was the wrong one. I'm sorry. Y'all disregard the first person. I just disregard her. But this is a Jewish lady, and this is what she said on my page. New rule. Thanks for the badge, sneakerhead. New rule. If you hate Jews, you can't use our stuff. Jews invented a cure for polio, the color TV and remote, every show you've ever watched, Saturdays off, and the peel. Maybe instead of hating us, next time you're enjoying some Saturday morning Netflix and chill, having unprotected sex with no polio, you can whisper to your lover, thank God for the Jews. Now, I thought her comment was hilarious, but I also want to say that I don't know what I've said that's anti-Semitic. I don't know what I've said or Kanye has said that's anti-Semitic. Now, maybe they can say that the DEFCON comment was anti-Semitic, but I don't know what I've said is anti-Semitic. I've only brought up the facts about what a Semite is, what Semitic is. So I'm trying to figure out how I've been anti a Semite or a Semitic person. Can someone please put it up for me? But I think her comment is hilarious because she's bragging about what the Jews have done, and then she inadvertently admits that the Jews have created every show. So even by her own admission, the Jewish people control at least all of the television programming. Thank you, Boris, for the sticker. But anyway, I'll read it again one more time. New rule: if you hate Jews, you can't use our stuff. Jews invented a cure for polio, the color TV and remote, every show you've ever watched. Saturdays off. Shoot. Dang it. Every time I go live, man, someone always calling my phone. It's crazy. Hopefully you all can hear me on Instagram now. But I'll read it again. New rule: if you hate the Jews, you can't use our stuff. Jews invented a cure for polio, the color TV and remote, every show you've ever watched, Saturdays off, and the peel. Maybe instead of hating us, next time you're enjoying some Saturday morning Netflix and chill, having unprotected sex with no polio, you can whisper to your lover, thank God for the Jews. I thought she had a very hilarious comment, but like I said, she even inadvertently admitted that the Jews have been responsible for every television program. So we can at least admit by her own admission, and she's Jewish, that the Jews control television. We can at least admit that. based on what she said. And somebody said there's no cure for polio. Yeah. So I just thought that was very hilarious of her to say that. But now let's get to the good stuff. And I want to get on Darrell Brooks's mother. So I want to show you all Darrell Brooks's mother before the trial, well, after the incident happened, and then after the trial.
Says the state called her as a witness to testify, but they withdrew the subpoena. When I sat down with her for an exclusive interview since her son's trial began, she says that brought her relief. From fighting to the judge to taking his shirt off, the trial has really been nothing short of dramatic. And that's why Wood says she isn't watching because, well, it's just too much for her to take.
Right now, I'm just heartbroken, just shattered.
Did he ever talk about driving through the parade route? Did you have a conversation with him?
Early on. And he does not remember. Every time Darrell goes into a manic where he explodes like that, he does not remember what he did. You have to tell him what he did. He knows what you told him, but he can't recall the act. I don't believe, from what I've known and what I've seen, that Darrell was even in his right mind. I don't think.
So you hear the, yeah, right, Destro, masked up, always got that mask on. So basically, she says that when Darrell Brooks has a manic episode, he blacks out and he doesn't remember what's going on. So she doesn't believe that he knew what was going on. And I know another guy on YouTube said he believes the same thing. So our people are going to try to make sense of all this and just make him mentally ill. So, but again, I don't believe that he was mentally ill because his response wasn't mentally ill. He ran to somebody's house, asked her to use their phone to call an Uber. Like he came up with something too quick. Like, he wasn't frazzled. He had a very good escape plan when he was in court. He was very articulate when he was speaking about what was going on. He was telling the judge, he knew all the rules, sovereign citizen, all this stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm not buying that he wasn't in his right mind just based on his response. You all watched the video, he was literally stopping and running people over. So much to the point where you'll see his car go up a few times. He's running over people. Yeah. So I don't believe at all that it was a manic episode and he just blacked out. Now, when he was a pimp and he had a 16-year-old girl in Las Vegas, he didn't black out then. For some reason, none of his blackouts occurred when he was pimping. None of his blackouts occurred when he was rapping. None of his blackouts occurred when he was gangbanging. His blackout only occurred when he ran through the parade. It's kind of convenient to me. That's all. Let's continue, though.
I think he was even conscious to what he was doing.
Whose idea was it for him to represent himself? Was it his, yours, together?
No, I would never advise him to represent, no one to represent himself, especially in a case that's so serious.
But he insisted?
No, he felt that his lawyers did not have his best interest at heart.
So he's been in court and he has taken off his shirt and he has interrupted the judge, and the judge has thrown him out saying, you can't keep doing this. His behavior in court, we've seen this play out, is erratic. At times towards the judge, disrespectful. What do you say to that? What message would you send to him?
like I said, so when he first started the trial, he was trying to play crazy, taking his shirt off. And we went over this yesterday, that he wanted to, represent himself, but have the public offenders do all the research and work for him. That's what he really wanted. That was his goal. So he's not. I'm not buying that he was mentally ill at all. I'm not. It's just too convenient. He tried to play crazy, but he knew it wasn't going to work. So he changed his strategy. But let's continue.
I have talked to him about that, and I have told him, I said, you're gonna have to try to keep a cool head because it's making you look bad. But he's not medicated. They're not giving him anything for his illness.
What message do you have for the families?
I just want them to know that that was not a deliberate act. When you're manic and you're out of control, you don't know what you're doing.
Now I know she's his mother, but how does she know it's not deliberate? How does she know it's not a deliberate act? Like based on what? Based on what he told her? If to me, if it really wasn't deliberate, then he would have stood there and got out the car and been like, what's going on? Like he would have been confused, unaware. That's not what he did. He ran from the scene and asked the dude to let him use the phone. And he used that same alibi when he was interrogated by the police and saying him and the guy was just talking on the porch. They were just cool kicking it. So again, to me, mentally ill is mentally ill. When I was growing up, there was a guy, and he used to always be on MLK, but he looked like the white version of Jesus. And we used to call him Jesus because he would be walking like, like he'd be praying, talking to God, but every now and then he would get hit by a car. But he would get hit by a car and disappear for like a few months. And then, he'd be back all stitched up and bandaged up, back on the street doing it again. So we used to be like, he used to get resurrected every now and then, but he was crazy. Like he was mentally ill. Like he was mentally ill to the point where he was get hit by the car on the street, on a busy street, and then go back to the same spot he got popped at. And so that's crazy. What Darrell Brooks did wasn't crazy. You know what I'm saying? So talking about he didn't have his medication. Well, when he popping pills and lean and all that stuff, he medicated. I don't want to hear it. When this man was pimping on a 16-year-old girl, he wasn't manic then. When he's rapping about gangbanging, he wasn't manic then. He wasn't manic when he do all the debauchery. But all of a sudden now he's manic after he done killed 6 people and injured 61. Let's continue.
He didn't know what he didn't know what he was doing. He was not in his right mind. It wasn't intentional. He didn't mean to hurt nobody. We talk about the family often and the victims. And he says to me that he prays for them too. And he has to live with the fact that says to me that he prays for them and the victims.
Now you can't see the woman in the middle. She's on the bottom row in the middle with the pom-pom and the hat and jacket. I think she's the one, or maybe not her. Maybe it was the one with the dogs, or it was her. It might have been the one with the dogs. It was the one with the dogs or her, but one of them had an outfit on, and her hat and jacket was wedged in the top of his hood. That's how hard he hit her, and her clothes came off and got stuck to his car. Those items were still on the car when they found the vehicle. It's just so sad and tragic. So, I mean, we could say manic, but you hitting people. Like you hitting people, you hearing bones. Like it's a lot going into killing somebody with a car. So it's not just but they have a still photo of him driving in the car. And he like this, looking straight ahead. But let's continue.
And he says to me that he prays for them too, and he has to live with the fact that regardless to what goes down, what happened, 6 people died because of him. He is very, he's full of shame.
You brought up the little Sparks boy. What would you say to his mom tonight? If she sees this, what message would you like to say to her?
I would tell her, not just his mom, but his dad and his brother too, that little Jackson, he had his whole life ahead of him. And he's now a sweet angel. He did not deserve what happened to him.
Do you think Darrell should go to prison, and if so, how long?
There should be some accountability to what he did. Yes, ma'am. How long? That's not for me to say.
Now his mother believes that he should not go to prison, that he should go to a mental institution to get help and then obviously be released. So she doesn't actually agree with him getting the judgment that he got. She doesn't believe in him getting life. She believes that he should have some accountability, but that accountability shouldn't come in the form of him going to prison for murder. So again, this mother is the reason why her child is like this. You know, I know what my mom would say. My mom would say, well, he killed the people, he deserved to be in prison. My mom would say that because at the end of the day, you can't justify taking 6 lives and then injuring 61 others, because potentially a vehicle could have killed everybody. So it could have been literally 67 people killed. No, 69 people killed, because a car can kill anybody. So it could have been 69 deaths, but thank God it was only 6. But the mother still is fighting with accountability. And this is the problem with a lot of our families. This is a part of Black culture, is not being able to say, listen, it's just wrong. And what happened should have happened. The punishment he got fit what he did. There's no excuses for it. All this mental illness stuff, it just sounds good to say now, but when he was pimping, he wasn't mentally ill. He had just punched his baby mama in the face, shut her eye, and bust her lip. He wasn't mentally ill then. He wasn't mentally ill when he was in court. So it's just too convenient for me to be mentally ill when you're not rapping, to be mentally ill when you're not gangbanging, to be mentally ill when you're not in the streets. It's just too convenient for me. So again, this is a problem with accountability. This is a cultural problem. This is a cultural lack of character, a cultural lack of accountability. And so it's very hard for Black people to say that it's just wrong. There's no excuses. It always got to be some kind of something extra, because our culture says you're not really accountable. Let's continue.
My only concern was that how long? Accountability to what he did. Yes, ma'am.
And if so, how long?
There should be some accountability to what he did. Yes, ma'am. How long? That's not for me to say. My only concern was that instead of being in prison, I feel he needs to be institutionalized where he can get the help he needs.
And again, Dawn says she doesn't plan to watch any of the trial again. It's just too hard because she sees him as somebody with a mental illness, not the son that she knows.
And that was an original plea, which was pulled back, and now he's representing himself. She's not a witness anymore. She was going to be called. So she can't talk to him. How often do they speak? And whatever she says to him, does it seem to be getting through? And she says, stop the antics.
Yeah, apparently not. And she said that's the mental illness. She's only been there twice to talk to him. She doesn't go again because her car was impounded. She doesn't have a car. Says she only gets 15 minutes behind glass and it's all recorded. So she feels put off by that. So she talks to him on the phone, but will not, she said, go to Waukesha anymore.
Trial starts again in the morning. Mary.
Yeah, so as you heard the mother, she really doesn't want him to go to prison. She wants him to, be in a mental hospital. And if he's in a mental hospital, then he could eventually get out if he gets treated. Because you think about it, if he gets treated and gets cured, quote unquote cured, then he'll be released. So again, we are dealing with accountability. And I'm going to say this again. If he was mentally ill and he came to, then why wouldn't he say, I made a mistake? Like, why wouldn't he? If what she's saying is true, and what some folks online are saying, then why wouldn't he say this was something tragic? I made a mistake. I took 6 lives. I throw myself on the mercy of the court. What's up, Jay Will? What's up, Louisiana Sister Pod Squad? What's up, Cole? What's up, MKOK? What's up, Jeanette? But I'm not blaming the mother because this is cultural. That's her son. So I think a part of the problem with, being a single mother and raising these children is there's no balance in the household. So you have a household that's just all feminine dominant. It's no counterbalance with masculinity in the household. So when it comes to raising the children, most of the raising is reared from one perspective, which is a mother's nurturing nature. The problem is Darrell Brooks been causing problems for years. He didn't just start doing this. He's been cutting up for years. I guarantee if we look back at his life, he was cutting up in school. He was cutting up in the neighborhood. If we look back on his life, this was a pattern. This is why it's so important to have both parents in the household on the same page. But again, this is a cultural problem with not wanting to be accountable. You heard her say she wants her son to be in an institution to seek the help he needs. And obviously, if he got the help he needed and he got better, they want to get him released. So let's let's continue with the caged bird. Now, this is going to be a beautiful speech she gives right here. This is going to be a wonderful caged birds analogy. I thought it was awesome. So let's just listen to his mother.
It sounds like you want to be an advocate
The
for
people need to understand mental illness and understand people who are mentally ill are hurting. They're trapped. And a lot of them don't know the way I will show compassion to families who have loved ones that are suffering from mental illness. A lot of them are ashamed to even talk about it, or to say he's crazy and don't want to have anything to do with them. But you need to, those people need help more than anything. Seek out treatment where there is. Speak up for them, be an advocate for them. And then when you see people out in the street, you see them acting, and you just laugh at them joking, and you turn away, stop and say a prayer. Because I sent Darrell early on a poem written by Maya Angelou called I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And I learned that poem in the 7th grade for Black History Month. And I never thought about that poem again. And the Lord brought it to my memory. And I remember back when I was a child, my grandma had a pet parakeet named Jerry. And I remember that so vividly. She would walk to the cage and Jerry would sing. He had a beautiful singing voice. And we all thought Jerry was happy because he would sing and twerk, and his cage was right in front of the window where he can look out in the backyard. And we thought, but then when Lord brought that point to me, I pulled it up again and I read it again. And I realized that bird wasn't singing because it was happy. That bird was singing because he wanted to be out of that cage and be free. And I told Darrell, I said, "You're this cage bird. Mental illness has clipped your wings, and those Christmas birds is going to be your cage. And, no one's going to hear you singing. It's just going to fall in their ears." But I told him that, he
Thanks for the sticker, King Tabernacle. Thanks for the sticker, King Tabernacle. Um, um, okay, listen. I'm not laughing at his mother. I'm just laughing because she's acting like Darrell Brooks went his whole life being oppressed for mental illness. She's acting like Darrell Brooks was misunderstood his whole life. Darrell Brooks was pimping on a 16-year-old girl and he got her pregnant. Like he was abusive to women. He was a gang member. He was a rapper. It was a lot. He was involved in crime. I, we can't sit, listen, that's her son, but we can't act like Darrell Brooks was getting picked on because of mental illness. Not one time in Darrell Brooks's rants, not one time in Darrell Brooks' social media stuff, not one time did he mention he was mentally ill. Not one time. Now all of a sudden he the caged bird that Maya Angelou was talking about. Come on, listen, y'all. We can't listen. I can't. We can't do it like this. Somebody said if that was my mom, she would have said that's not my daughter. Exactly. My mother would not have been on TV explaining why I did this. She would have just said, "Listen, he did it, and he gonna rot in prison." I know what she would have said. Like no remorse. At the end of the day, we do our parents a disservice by doing stupid stuff out here in the world. So, no, but I know why the cage bird sings, right? Okay. I would love to hear what his baby mamas say about her. I would love to see what the baby mama say about it. King Tabernacle said, my mother would have changed her number and got lost. Exactly, man. Like, not only is it embarrassing, but you can't even justify because it's just so egregious. Like you ran over people. You know how insane that is? You ran through a Christmas parade. One lady, it was her first day at the parade. It was her first parade with the dancing grannies. One of those ladies, it was her first time at the parade. Could you imagine it being your first time and you get killed? It's too much, man. No, he has no remorse. He in court crying, but the crying was a scene. His court scene when he was crying was like Will Smith crying after he fake slapped Chris Rock. Denzel talked to me, and he told me when the devil comes. Shut up. So that's the kind of crying Darrell Brooks was doing. That Will Smith fake slap crying. Disgusting. But let's continue.
keep singing till someone hears him. Hopefully, this will bring awareness to mental illness via our senators and our governors and elected officials, court, police. And when these people come before the penal system, instead of them locking them up, say, hey, what can we do to help this person become?
Now she talking about the governors, senators, mayors, political officials, penal system, what they got to do. My question is this. She blaming everybody now. My question, listen, all you got to do is let the people talk long enough, and you're going to go from remorse, feeling sorry, to blame. Because Black culture says it ain't never your fault. So it's funny to me that mental illness always plays out negatively. Why doesn't mental illness make somebody want to sit out and be a doctor? Why doesn't mental illness make somebody want to go feed the homeless? Why doesn't mental illness make somebody want to go save the children? Why does mental illness never express itself in a positive manner? Why does mentally ill always have to do with something negative? There are plenty mentally ill people that do good things. So why is it that when we bring up mental illness, it's always something negative? Why couldn't somebody be so crazy they gave all their money to the homeless? You'll never hear that. Somebody was so crazy he gave all his money to the orphanage. Somebody was so crazy he adopted 25 children. Like, why do we ever hear mental illness when it's something good? It's only mental illness when somebody do something crazy and it's time to pay the piper. Mental illness never plays out, because think about it, crazy is crazy, right? So crazy can be a good crazy, crazy can be a bad crazy. So if crazy is crazy and mentally ill is mentally ill, then why does it never play out on the other side? Man, he was so great. He was so crazy. He used his retirement to send four kids to college. He was so crazy that he spent his whole retirement on paying for 4 students to go through college. You never hear them stories. You only hear about mental illness when these folks are cutting up. It's just too convenient of an argument to me. It's just too convenient. It's way too convenient. We should quote unquote see crazy people doing all kind of stuff, good and bad. But it shouldn't just all be bad. You ever met somebody so crazy? Have you ever seen a crazy man stand out in front of the mall during the holiday season handing out money? You ever seen that? No. Crazy should be crazy. Why is crazy always just bad? You ever had somebody so crazy they wasn't begging for money, they was begging to give money? Yeah, I know. It's just too convenient. Let's continue.
Mentally well. Officials, court. This will bring awareness to mental illness via our senators and our governors and elected officials, court, police. And when these people come before the penal system, instead of locking them up, say, hey, what can we do to help this person become mentally well? That's what needs to happen.
Do you think he can get help in
No, very little help is done for individuals who are incarcerated with mental illness. That's why I wanted him to go to a hospital where he can still get treatment, but that won't be, he would be behind prison where he would not get any services. If he does, it would be very little and it will not be what he needs.
So it sounds like you don't think it was fair what he received
You
today.
know, you know.
Remind me to get on Nancy Pelosi's husband. Ain't nobody, listen, man, all this stuff them liberals and Democrats do is staged. Who beat him up? Beat him up for what? Beat her. Listen, man, these Democrats gonna pull out every stop, every stunt they can pull out. Who beat him up? Oh, let me guess. The same folks that beat up Juicy Smollett. Ain't nobody broke in that man's house, Nancy Pelosi's husband, and beat him up. That's all a lie. It's a staged event. Ain't nobody touched that man. How you get in the house? How they get in the house? Who was it? Y'all ain't got cameras? Stop. Stop. Now you heard this woman. She just said the punishment wasn't fair. She just said the punishment wasn't fair. The same guy they ran on stage to attack Dave Chappelle was staged. How you get past security? How you get it's fake, man. Listen, man, this stuff. Listen, we've all been out. We've all seen. We know this stuff ain't real. Ain't nobody breaking in Nancy Pelosi's house to beat her husband up. Nobody cares about him that much to do that. If they cared that much, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now with this whole snake bite and these mandates. If folks was that bold, to beat up Nancy Pelosi's husband in their own house, this stuff could have never happened. Thank you for the sticker, super sticker. World is yours. World is yours entertainment. If people were that bold to beat that man up in his house, then there's no way Joe Biden could have been president. It's impossible. Because folks would have nutted up during the last election. So we know good and well this ain't real. I'll play the video though, but it's not real. Let's continue. Hold on. But you heard his mom say that the punishment wasn't fair. I told y'all she believed he should go to a mental institution, be in there about 5 years, then get out. If you talk to her off the record, she gonna tell you something about like 3 to 5 years. He get the help he need and then get to come out.
But you think he should have done any prison time?
Yes.
Will you be at sentencing to support?
No. 'Cause I already know.
Too hard to watch.
Too hard to watch. You know. I mean, what's to say? You know. We have to move forward. You know, just whew, hopefully something good will come out of it.
How do you feel right now?
Right now, I just want to curl up and die. That's how I feel right now. I just want to go somewhere, just curl up.
You got to admit though, black people have a way of looking so pitiful and distraught. For a second, she almost had me. That's a gift. I said we the black people, the people of influence, but it's almost it's almost like a gift to be able to make yourself look so pitiful and just so it's like it's amazing because she almost had me. I watched this earlier and she almost had me that I had to snap out of it. I said, wait a minute. I looked at the lashes, that hair. I said, wait a minute. Black girl magic tried to put a spell on me. I had to snap out of it. But we just have a great gift of doing that. Right. No tear. Not one tear fell because she would have messed them last. Not one tear fell, nothing. But back to Nancy Pelosi's husband real quick. Nancy Pelosi, all this does is try to give January 6th the credibility. That's all it is. It's just trying to way to give January 6th more credibility because everybody knows it was staged. That was a staged event too. So they're trying to make it seem like these folks are so wild and out of control, and these are the MAGA Republicans. You listen, man. We know this stuff is a setup. We know it's a setup. We know it's a setup. Thank you, James Blonde. Thank you. But ain't nobody beat up Nancy Pelosi. Somebody said his assistant was found in their drawers. Well, maybe Nancy Pelosi and the assistant were doing something. How do we know? I'm just telling you all, they trying to make January 6th credible. They said January 6th was worse than Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Do you know how insane that is to even say that? That lets you know it's propaganda. It was worse than Pearl Harbor and 9/11, January the 6th. And the Capitol got visiting hours. How you raid a place that got visiting hours for the public? What are we doing? Come on, y'all. It's foolish. Okay, let's continue, man. I got some more videos though. Let's go to Nancy Pelosi's husband. See what he talking about. What's his name? Nancy Pelosi husband. Let me see.
We now know the identity of the man charged with bursting into Nancy Pelosi's home looking for her and attacking her husband with a hammer. He's 32-year-old David Wayne DePape from Berkeley, California. He allegedly screamed, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" 82-year-old Paul Pelosi was struck on the head and torso with a hammer. We now know the identity.
Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. If he's from Berkeley, California, he is a stone cold liberal. If he's from Berkeley, California, we're going to look into him too. I guarantee he's a stone cold liberal. If you go to the Bay Area, the Bay Area is a cesspool for liberalism. It used to be a cesspool for communism and activism. Now it's a cesspool for liberalism. So if he's from Berkeley, he was a stone cold liberal. He was with BLM. He was with Antifa. He with the LGBTQs. He with climate change. We're going to look him up, though. We're going to look him up. Thanks for the sticker, James. He's talking about he got hit in the head and in the torso. Now, you all know this is for real. Unless he was Thor, who hit somebody in the torso with a hammer? Unless he's Thor. You know, Thor got the hammer, hit you anywhere. But unless he's Thor, who going to hit somebody in the head, then in the stomach? Come on, y'all. Nobody hits people in the stomach with a hammer. You know and I know, if you get hit in the head with a hammer, it's going to split you to that white meat. Y'all know it. He'd have been leaking like a faucet. Come on, y'all. You know good and well that man ain't hit that man with no hammer. Come on, y'all. But let's listen.
Of the man charged with bursting into Nancy Pelosi's home looking for her and attacking her husband with a hammer. He's 32-year-old David Wayne DePape from Berkeley, California.
You think he ain't man? Hold up. David Wayne, let's look him up. David Wayne DuPay. David DuPay, right here. Alleged Pelosi attacker posted multiple conspiracy theories. I'm going to get to the bottom of this dude. This dude from Berkeley, man, he is a liberal. Let me see. A 42. This man is 42 years old. It look like he got Down syndrome. This man is 42 years old, and he crashing out. What 42-year-old do y'all know is gonna crash out at 42? Come on, y'all. Ain't no 42-year-old man crashing out. What we talking about, man? No. 42 years old. He's estranged from his family for years and confirmed that the Facebook account, which was taken down by social media company on Friday, but exactly. So we can't go and investigate and look at all the liberal stuff he posted. The Buffalo shooter, he was a liberal. He even said he was far left. He said he was a socialist. He was far left. He's with climate change, all that. The Buffalo shooter was a liberal. Most of these shooters are liberals. Conservative folks don't act like that. Conservative folks are handling their business. Liberals got time on their hand to think about, what can I do? Let me go mess up a Van Gogh painting. That's what liberals do. Y'all seen them two liberal girls went and smeared Van Gogh's painting? That's what liberals do, extreme acts of whatever to get attention. Conservatives don't do that. Let me see. He was identified as a hemp jewelry maker. And he lived with a nudist activist. All you gotta do is read, people. This man was a hemp jewelry maker. What person do y'all know? So you know if he's making hemp jewelry, he's smoking, getting high every day. What person y'all know smoking every day, getting high, got the gumption and the gall to get up, go break in somebody's house, hit him in the head with a hammer, hit him in the stomach? What person do y'all know getting high? Let me leave the house, go and go find Nancy Pelosi. Stop, y'all. He was dating a nudist. These are extreme liberal hippie type white people. There's no way this man said, you know what? He was. Man, let's go beat up Nancy Pelosi. What are you talking about? Man, listen, let's go to Nancy Pelosi's house. Hand me the hammer. Let's go beat up Nancy Pelosi. What for? I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like it. Let's go beat her up. Y'all believe that? Y'all believe that? This man lived with a nudist. Do y'all think this man put the blunt down, stopped making hemp jewelry, left his nudist girlfriend to go find Nancy Pelosi? And then how did he get in the house? Does he have burglar experience? Does he know how to break in? Does he know how to pick a lock? How did he even get in the house? How did he get past security? How did he sneak in the house with somebody there? Why are we not asking these questions? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they told you that America's racist. So you don't question nothing. This man is a liberal. This is a liberal act. Listen, man. If Nancy ain't there, I'm going to get a husband. Y'all believe that? Y'all believe that? What we doing? What we doing? You think he? I'm going to read it again. Y'all think I'm playing? They said, oh my goodness. And he grew up in British Columbia. He's Canadian. Now hold on now. So you mean to tell me he a Canadian hemp jeweler maker, pothead with a nudist girlfriend, and that guy is going to get up and go try to attack Nancy Pelosi with the hammer like the liberal version of Thor? That what y'all telling me? He's the liberal version of Thor. No powers, no lightning, none of that. He's just going to get up there with a hammer and go hit. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, man. Y'all know Canadians don't even act like that. Y'all can't even name me a bold revolutionary that's a Canadian. Who? Name me one. Who? Jim Carrey? Who? Name me some Canadians that you think is about it like this. Who? Someone says, oh, he do it. You know he didn't do it. That man didn't do it, man. That man, he said, listen, all you got to do, we're going to leave the back door open. You go in there. You got to hit him. You got to hit him. Just go in the house. Paul will already be set up. He'll already have the fake blood, the bruises. He'll already be laying down. All you got to do is just go in the house. That's it? Yes. We're going to put the money in your account. You're going to be good. No, he didn't do it. Somebody said his nickname was Blanket. Man, his stepfather, Jean Dupape, said David Dupape grew up in Powell River, British Columbia, and left Canada about 20 years ago to pursue a relationship that brought him to California. I really don't know what to think. The suspect's uncle, Mark Dupape, said of his nephew's alleged attack on Pelosi. Hopefully it's a scam. I don't want to hear something like that. His uncle knows the truth. It's a scam. Thanks, Unc. Thanks, Unc, for being honest. People who knew Dupape in California described him as an odd character. In a 2013 article in the San Francisco Chronicle, identified him as a hemp jewelry maker and said that he lived with a nudist activist. A nudist activist is the epitome of a liberal. It's a liberal. Other photos published by the Chronicle showed DePape fully clothed at a nude wedding on the steps of San Francisco City Hall. Linda Schneider, a California resident, told CNN she got to know DePape roughly 8 years ago and that he occasionally house sat for her. He's very responsible. When they met, she said DePape was living in a storage unit in the Berkeley area and told her that he had been struggling with hard drugs but was trying to create a new life for himself. So now you're telling me he's a drug addict. So y'all are telling me, listen to me. Y'all telling me he's a drug addict, hemp jewelry maker, lived with a nudist activist, pothead, but now we see his hard drugs. Somebody said his nickname was Blanket, and he's from Canada. That type of person doesn't do this kind of stuff. I'm sorry. She said he was extremely shy, of course, extremely shy. He said he couldn't even go and have a bank account because he was terrified of speaking to a teller. So you mean to tell me, listen to me. You mean to tell me this funny looking dude looking like Corky from Life Goes On, you mean to tell me that this dude right here, the person that was too shy to get a bank account, had the balls and the cojones to break into Nancy Pelosi's house and attack her husband? There's no way. Now, you tell me he's lazy, he's a sloth, he's a bum, he's a degenerate, I'll receive all of that. You tell me he's antisocial, he's awkward around people, I'll agree with all of that. But to be bold enough to break into somebody's house while they're there, that's a whole different level of courage. He don't have that. Most folks ain't bold enough to break into somebody's house while they're home without a gun, with a hammer. And y'all still on here talking about, oh, it's possible. It's possible. It seems possible. Boy, y'all go for fried. My dad used to say, boy, you go for fried ice cream. That means you go for anything. I got some beachfront property in Idaho. You want to buy some? Y'all go for anything. What happened to y'all? What happened to black people's street smarts? Y'all ain't got no game to see through this? The woman said the man was so socially awkward and scared that he was afraid to have a bank account. You think a person that shy is going to have the nerve to break into somebody's house with a hammer? Stop, y'all. Right, it was Pelosi's hammer. Come on, man. Come on, y'all. All we got to do is read. That's all we got to do. Let's continue.
He allegedly screamed, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?"
Now listen how crazy this is. Listen. I'm gonna give you the equivalent to this. I walk into the bank. Now, normally you slide the note to the teller, flash the gun, and say, put the money in the bag and give me the unmarked bills so I can get out of here. He would walk in. This is equivalent to walking in the bank saying, pull your guns out and say, where's the money? I want the money. You mean to tell me the man broke into the house to announce himself? So you mean it's like a thief breaking into your house, and then you sleep in the bed, he come in and wake you up and talk about, I'm here. I'm just going to get a few things before I go. Go back to sleep. This is crazy. The man broke in somebody's house to announce himself. Y'all believe this? Right, King Tabernacle. How did he know it was Nancy Pelosi's house to begin with? And the fact that he's Canadian tells me everything. Canadians don't act like this. They're not about it like this. He's a liberal Canadian. He ain't in the cold Canadian out there where ain't nothing out there Canadian. He ain't out there in the frozen tundra of Canada. He is a liberal from British Columbia, Canada. He's a liberal Canadian. So a liberal Canadian is softer than a regular Canadian. He's a liberal Canadian. He's like way down the food chain of liberals. They ain't gonna bust a grape if they were standing on one. Come on, man. Let's continue though.
82-year-old Paul Pelosi was struck on the head and torso with a hammer. The attacker reportedly tried to tie him up and wait for Nancy. Video shows shattered glass doors in the back of the house in the fashionable Pacific Heights neighborhood of San Francisco.
Look how obvious the plot is, you all. Look what conveniently he smashes the back door, but how did he get up? How did he get to the back door? It's cameras everywhere. Like, why I gotta be the bad guy for y'all, man? When did listen, I get white folks falling for this. I get folks, other races falling for this. Black folks shouldn't be falling for this. I'm sorry. Because y'all done lost all kind of common sense. Y'all know good and well this is a staged scene. It's staged. Ain't no way, man. The glass is shattered in the back door. The windows open. This is just like a movie, man. Y'all can't see what's going on. Listen, I'm about to come right back, Instagram. I'm about to come right back. Listen, these folks on Instagram are slow. When I tell you they slow, they are slow. Slow. Paul Pelosi. Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy? You don't stop. If you don't stop, where's Nancy? It really could have happened. I mean, a liberal Canadian could have did it. Thank you, Destro. Thank you, Destro. Thank you. Thank you, Destro. Thank you, Destro. Thank you, Destro. Thank you. We all know that Nancy Pelosi's security is tight. Destro made a good point. He says she's the third most powerful person in America. She got security. Oh, let me guess. The security was with her, not her husband. Somebody said, look at the window. It's broke from the inside. Yeah, you know why? Because the glass is shattered out on the outside. You're right. They didn't hit the glass from the inside. Boy, listen. Boy, listen. They didn't hit the glass from the inside. Thank you. Who said that? Thank you, the Deuce. Thank you so much. Y'all have restored my faith in humanity. Thank you. This is foolish. A liberal from Canada swinging hammers like he Thor. Get out of here. Hitting the man in the stomach. So nobody hit nobody with a hammer with the in the stomach. Stop. They done broke the glass from the inside and the glass shattered out on the patio. We all see it. These folks ain't that. Listen, we know these folks are bad because the Hollywood movies are trash. So the Hollywood movies are trash. So in a way, this stuff gonna be good. This stuff gonna be trash too. Let's continue.
The home invasion took place at 2:27 a.m. Friday. And look, there's an object, possibly a hammer, lying on the carpet. Paul Pelosi called 911.
Man, come on, y'all. So the glass, the hammer on the ground. Come on, y'all. Listen, man, nothing is this convenient. Let's continue. What's up with Goddess Navi? Let's continue, man.
And without the attacker realizing,
Paul Pelosi is basically trying to tell her in code what's going on. Why are you here? What are you going to do to me? I mean, you can imagine how he's trying to not let the attacker know that 911 is listening.
Our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Our officers.
Okay, so let me get this straight. They were struggling over the hammer before the police got there. But when the police get there, the guy, the liberal Canadian hip jeweler maker / nudist, that guy was able to then snatch the hammer from John Pelosi and then violently attack him. Now, we all know that when that Thor, can't nobody pick up the Thor hammer but Thor. We all know this. I think the Hulk picked it up a few times, and we saw Captain America pick it up. But for the most part, unless you're the Hulk or Captain America, you can't pick up Thor's hammer. So y'all mean to tell me the police came to the scene, they saw John holding the hammer and the other guy holding the hammer, and they was just holding it. Then the guy took it from John and then hit him in the head with it and hit him in the stomach, all while the police are standing there. Okay. Let's continue.
Officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody.
The House Speaker was at her Washington, D.C. home at the time.
Armed him, took him into custody, and violently, both holding a hammer.
911 is listening.
Our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Our officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody.
The House Speaker was at her Washington, D.C. home at the time of the attack.
So you mean to tell me you had a masterful plot and plan to go in that house and attack Nancy Pelosi like the liberal version of Thor, and you didn't even verify whether she was in the house? So you mean to tell me you had this big plot and scheme to how you was going to get into the house with the hammer and attack her, but you didn't even verify she's going to be at the house. And all you had to do was look on the news. All you had to do was Google. Okay. But y'all believe it. Okay. Y'all believe it. Conveniently, she was in Washington, D.C., way across the country, and this quote-unquote dummy didn't even know that. And y'all believe it. There is no way. The police said they sat there and watched the man hit him with the hammer. So they said he got hit in the head and the stomach. So you mean to tell me the police looked and didn't rush him immediately? How'd he get the first hit off? How'd he get the second hit off? Better yet, y'all run an experiment. Y'all go into a public place with a hammer and see what happens. You try to hit somebody in the head, see what happened to y'all. Conveniently, somewhere out of the blue, it's going to be SWAT teams and cops everywhere. Walk in that public mall with a hammer and see what happened to y'all. See how fast the police get there. Let's see. Let's continue.
A spokesman said Mr. Pelosi was taken to the hospital where he is receiving excellent medical care and is expected to make a full recovery. Nancy Pelosi has a Capitol Police security detail 24/7, but they were not at the San Francisco house because she was not there.
So this guy thought Nancy Pelosi was there and she got 24-hour security. Are y'all buying it? Are y'all still buying it? Are y'all still buying it? Are you all still buying that Nancy Pelosi has 24-hour security and this guy thought he was going to be able to get through the security with a hammer? So he must have thought he was Thor. He must have been so high that he thought he was Thor. That's all I can get. What y'all got? He thought he was Thor. Because ain't no way in the world he thought he was finna pick up a hammer and go to Nancy Pelosi's house and not get shot at least 50 times. At least 50. At least 50. There's no way the police are going to sit there and let a man get beat with a hammer. You finna get shot. You about to get popped. Come on, man. 24-hour security, and you think you're going to get through it with a hammer. He thought he was Thor. That's all I can think of. Let's continue.
Before we go, we want to send our best to Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, a lovely, lovely man who was brutally attacked in his own home in the middle of the night. Nancy's husband, Paul.
Here's what we have learned about the accused attacker. He sells hemp jewelry. He's a conspiracy theorist and espouses racist views.
Okay. Hemp jewelry maker, conspiracy theorist, but he's a racist. How many races do you all know that are nudists and hemp jewelry makers? How many nudists do y'all know that are racist? Hemp jewelry makers. Like, these are the folks that are liberal, all-inclusive, let's live, let's love. So you mean to tell me that guy, the liberal guy from Canada, the liberal guy that's dating a nudist, the liberal guy that smokes, does drugs, smokes pot, makes hemp jewelry, lives in Berkeley, is literally afraid of a bank teller, that guy's racist? That guy's racist. A guy that was too afraid to get a bank account because he was afraid to be in front of a teller, that guy's racist. Thank you, King Tabernacle. I don't know any racist hippies. Now, I know a whole bunch of racist liberals. I don't know any racist hippies, though. This dude is beyond. This dude is a Canadian liberal / hemp making hippie nudist. He belongs to too many groups. I guarantee he cares about the planet, the environment. Man, listen, man, this is crazy. There ain't no way he racist. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. This man walking around in the nude. What we doing? Stop.
6'2" and weighs 250 pounds. This is him dancing with the bride at a nudist wedding outside San Francisco.
This dude outside dancing. He got the ponytail. Let's continue. They said he's 6'5", 250. Let me see. You know what? He looks kind of like Thor when he gained that weight. Remember in Avengers movie when Thor had got fat and sloppy? He looked kind of like Thor, that Thor. So he might have thought he was Thor. He might have thought he was Thor. Let's continue.
City Hall in 2013. President Biden expressed outrage. A horrible attack, he said, adding he was praying for Paul Pelosi and Speaker Pelosi's whole family. And the FBI foiled an alleged plot to assassinate Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in July. Nancy Pelosi was a key target of the January 6 rioters.
I told you, all them folks from January 6 is locked up. I told y'all, all this is doing is to give credibility to January the 6th. It's a setup. This ain't real, man. Ain't nobody trying to kill these folks. Who? I just told y'all that the shooter in Buffalo was a liberal. The guy that shot the subway up, the black dude, the quote-unquote black militant, is a Democrat. All these shooters on the left, they all got liberal ideologies. I told y'all this whole stunt was to give January the 6th the credibility that folks are still in danger. He was really attacked. Man, it's BS, man. That dude ain't no way in the world that dude did that. And the glass was broken out. They zoom in. Oh, we see the hammer still on the ground right there. Get out of here. That's right. Nothing but a psyop for these midterms. Somebody mentioned Twitter. The whole Twitter thing is fake. It's fake. What these liberals do is, once Elon Musk has it, then a bunch of liberals make liberal tweets. They make liberal tweets. When was the last time you all heard somebody say the N-word? When was the last time y'all was walking out of the seat outside minding your business and somebody called you the N-word? Or you went to a restaurant, they said we don't serve N-words. Or the bathroom said no N-words. Joe Biden got on TV and said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And black folks didn't even care. Now they care about Twitter. It's BS. It's fake. Joe Biden literally said, I don't want my kids to go into some racial jungle. Joe Biden has said all kind of racist stuff. Joe Biden's mentor, guide, and friend was Robert Byrd, a senator who was a recruiter for the Ku Klux Klan. And black folks didn't care, but black folks all of a sudden care about Twitter. I don't want to hear it. Y'all voted for Joe Biden. You can't make them about racism no more. Black folks told the world, we don't care about racism to the point we're gonna elect Joe Biden. We're gonna break the record for Joe Biden. I don't want to hear it. Talking about racism and black folks voted for Joe Biden. It's disgusting. Y'all mad at Elon Musk and Twitter, and Joe Biden is proof that Joe Biden has been racist. It's proof. His mentor, his guide, and his friend was a recruiter for the KKK. His mentor, guide, and friend, Robert Byrd, started a KKK chapter. Joe Biden authored every crime bill since 1978. Joe Biden said that black people did not have diverse attitudes when it came to politics. He also said that black folks didn't have enough sense to get online to register for the snake bite. He also said that black folks weren't able to have accountants or attorneys when they had a business. He also said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Okay. So black people talking about racism now about Twitter, it's BS. You can't get mad at Elon Musk and Twitter, but then vote for Joe Biden in record numbers. You can't do it. I'm sorry. So just shut your mouth and and we got the next dose of these snake bites coming. So just get ready and keep your mask on. But anyway, all this was about January the 6th. Let's continue.
And her home has been attacked before. The garage door was daubed with graffiti in a protest last year. And now this.
Y'all can go for it. I'm not going for it. Yeah, my question is, Stacey Abrams literally saying, vote for me so you have the right to vote. Just think for a second. Stacey Abrams is saying, vote for me so you can have the right to vote. But let's go back to I want to go to the sovereign citizen videos real quick. I'm done destroying the whole Nancy Pelosi's husband, John Pelosi, being attacked. That's another false flag thing to get these folks to vote for these Democrats. That's all it is. To let y'all believe that people are still so radical and racist. Get out of here, man. I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it at all. But let's continue with I'm gonna go to these sovereign citizens.
were in Placerville, California, for the arraignment of 39-year-old Asher Edwards. Hello, Judge.
Good afternoon, sir.
Edwards' demeanor may seem pleasant, but just a few days earlier, his alleged behavior was anything but. He was charged with making terrorist threats, assault with a deadly weapon, and obstructing peace officers after a domestic disturbance escalated into a 2-day police standoff.
Mr. Edwards, this is the time and place set for your arraignment. Do you consent to have an arraignment by video conference?
Sir, is this an Maritime Admiralty Law courtroom that we're processing me through?
No, it's not.
Edwards considers himself a sovereign citizen who lives as a free man, as they like to say, under common law as established by the Founding Fathers. Maritime Admiralty law that he's referencing is the law of the sea and international commerce, a body of law that sovereign citizens believe to be the foundation of the country's modern legal system, which they reject.
This is not a Maritime Admiralty Law courtroom. I believe so.
No.
Absolutely, it is. All courtrooms in this country are Maritime Admiralty Law courtrooms that process people, aren't they?
No, sir.
That's false information. Well, either way, this courtroom is trying to process me as state property. See this fictitious name statement? Asher Edwards, spelled in all capital letters. This is not my name.
Edwards is referring to another sovereign belief that beginning at birth, one is issued a government identity, meaning one's name is spelled in all capital letters, such as on a birth certificate or social security card, and that doesn't represent one's true or free self.
This name was issued to me without my consent, and you cannot legally process me through this courtroom with this without this name in all capital letters that was issued without my consent. My name is spelled Asher Edwards, first capital, all lowercase, Edwards, first capital, all lowercase. And this is the birth name given to me by my parents, protected by the Constitution of the United States.
Even as Edwards grows louder and more animated, the judge appears to take it all in stride and even allows the defendant to finish his rant.
Therefore, it is illegal for you to process me through this courtroom, so you guys have to figure out something else to do with it.
But this judge is all business, so figuring out something else to do with Edwards is not in his plans.
Court will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Will show time is not waived. We'll set this matter for pre-preliminary hearing within the statutory period.
And I would like to see the gun. It said I had a gun. I've never had a gun.
As Edwards continues his rant about the alleged gun, the judge reaches for his own weapon of choice, the mute button.
Darrell.
Do not speak while I am speaking, sir.
Edwards continues to plead his case, but to no avail.
Court will set bail in the amount of $72,500. Next matter.
Asher Edwards would later be found guilty of all the charges and sentenced to 1 year in prison. Next, we go to a bond hearing in Broward County. Judge John Hurley presiding. The defendant is David Hall.
So let's stop it right there real quick. So basically, sovereign citizen goes to court. He's talking about maritime law and all this stuff. And the judge is like, but you in this courtroom though. So the sovereign citizen thing doesn't work because you're telling the courts that you are a sovereign citizen. You're not a part of this. So the Constitution don't apply to you. Why is that so hard to understand? None of this stuff. If you are sovereign, you're saying I am my own entity. I'm my own sovereign nation. It's me by myself. None of this stuff in America applies to you. Not the protection, the laws, nothing. But these folks be going to court talking about I'm sovereign, but I want the benefits of an American citizen. That's not how that works. That is not how that works. And again, you can't do it if you're committing crimes. You can't do it if you're committing crimes. Because once you break the law, now you've placed yourself under the law. I'm a sovereign citizen, but I got constitutional rights. That don't even make any sense. It's crazy. Let's continue, though. This guy right here is funny, though.
Hall, a sovereign citizen who basically believes that certain laws don't apply to him.
Mr. Hall has declined the services of the public defender, Your Honor.
Hall is here for driving under the influence and driving with a suspended license.
Mr. Hall, DUI, expired driver's license.
Good morning, Judge.
As soon as the judge attempts to read the charges, Hall begins interrupting.
Sir, I haven't said for the court how I'm appearing today,
Well,
sir.
I'm not asking you yet. Just give me a moment, all right? I need to look at your record.
Turns out Hall is currently out on bond for 2 previous charges of driving with a suspended license. But that's not going to stop him from trying to make his case.
Sir, today I'm appearing as the agent and settler for David Hall.
Okay. Could you get Mr. Hall for me then, sir? Where is he?
I go by that name, sir. My name sounds exactly like the defendant's, and I'm here to settle that matter today.
So are you and David Hall one and the same person?
I'm not a person, I'm an individual. David Hall is a person. I am a private individual.
Hall's legalese is unconventional, to say the least. The judge allows him to continue.
May I say something else for the record, sir?
Go ahead, sir.
I appear here today as the settler, agent, not the person, but the individual. And I don't think I should have, you understand the difference between a person and an individual.
And you're the individual, but you're not the person. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
This man said, I'm the agent, I'm the settler, but I'm not I'm the individual, but I'm not the person. So what I'm telling you all is that this stuff doesn't work, because if you're a sovereign citizen, you're essentially unprotected, meaning that you're saying that I'm my own separate nation and I'm in someone else's nation. So now you're basically trespassing. So you don't have any rights if you're a sovereign nation within a nation. That's why the reservation, we went over this last time, that's why the reservations have their own set of rules, because they're a sovereign nation within a nation, so they handle all of their stuff on their own. What these folks are doing is they're trying to be essentially their own nation as an individual, walk around, do what they want to do, and not be held accountable. That's not how that works. That will never work. That'll never work. All of these people talk about the Constitution, but you're saying you're a sovereign citizen. It doesn't apply to you. Let's continue.
I'm going to write that down.
Judge Hurley is unfazed by Hall's attempt at a Jedi mind trick and begins to turn the tables.
Here's what we're going to do. The settler, the agent, the individual, and maybe even the person, David Hall, has been charged with DUI. So today, the court's going to set the settler, the agent, the individual's bond, and even the person's bond today to $10,000, because the settler, the agent, the individual, and the person continues to drive without a driver's license.
Hall's new bond is $10,000, but because this charge is a violation of his original bond, all versions of David Hall must remain in jail unless he can come up with the cash.
Both cases will cause the settler, the agent, the individual, and even the person, David Hall, not to be able to be released from the Broward County Jail until further notice of the court. So,
may I post bond, sir?
Now it's Judge Hurley's turn to have some fun.
Well,
is there any other?
Are you asking me as the settler, the agent, the individual, or are you asking me as the person?
Sir, I'm asking as the individual appearing before you today, the opportunity.
Who are you speaking on behalf of right now?
Sir, I don't understand that question. I believe that you're trying to.
Now the judge is handling him as the settler and as the agent, as the individual, and as not the person. And as soon as the judge talks to him in the same language he was talking, now he's confused. Now he don't understand what the judge is saying now. Now he don't. What's going on? It's crazy.
Confuse me now. I'm not the person, sir.
So,
May I post bond, sir?
Now it's Judge Hurley's turn to have some fun.
well,
Is there any other?
are you asking me as the settler, the agent, the individual, or are you asking me as the person?
Sir, I'm asking as the individual appearing before you today, the
Who are you
opportunity.
speaking on behalf of right now?
Sir, I don't understand that question. I believe that you're trying to confuse me now. I'm not the person, sir.
Okay,
I am
you
not
see the
the
person,
person.
David Hall. Tell him he's not leaving jail either, all right? Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Come on. Down the middle.
Hey, the judge said, if you see the person, David Hall, tell him he ain't leaving jail either. So again, all this sovereign citizenship stuff, it doesn't really work because if you're truly a sovereign citizen, you don't have any protection from the United States at all. You don't. You're literally your own separate nation within a nation. And you got to govern yourself accordingly because once you become in violation of the laws of the country, then you put yourself up under the law. What these folks do is these people break the law and try to get out of it on a technicality. It's not how that works. So Darrell Brooks was in court trying to literally not be Darrell Brooks. He was trying to represent Darrell Brooks, but he wasn't actually being Darrell Brooks, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. But it's not going to work. So what Darrell Brooks did was he said, I'm a sovereign citizen and I'm going to represent myself. So you notice during the court trial, people were calling him Darrell Brooks, and he was saying, I don't consent to being called that. I don't consent to being called Darrell Brooks or Mr. Brooks. This is all the technical stuff they try to use, but I'm just telling you all, in practical terms, this stuff doesn't work because when you need to use this stuff, you're already in violation of the law. It don't work. You can't be in violation of the law. Right. If he's a sovereign citizen, then he can be charged with illegal immigration. I'm just saying. You don't have any protection under the Constitution when you're a sovereign citizen. Let's continue.
Let's roll.
Next, we're at the Cheshire County Courthouse in Keene, New Hampshire. Court is currently in recess, but there is trouble brewing in the gallery.
Your choice is take the hat off or step outside.
The judge asked this man, Bo Davis, to remove his hat or leave. Otherwise, he could be charged with contempt of court. But Davis refuses.
So I have force threatened upon me if I were to wear a hat.
Davis and some others seated around him are associated with a New Hampshire-based anti-government movement. They're here to support a fellow member who's the defendant in a, quote, right to travel case that's in recess. These so-called sovereign citizens claim to be pushing back against what they consider overreach in the criminal justice system, and they're not afraid to get vocal about it.
I think you misunderstood. It's the judge's authority when he comes back. If at that point he says he's in contempt, then you have the authority.
Would not have been an issue. Your choice is take the hat off. I'm trying to be as nice as I can. I can't. You're making threats.
After more back and forth with Davis and...
I got a question. Where were all these sovereign citizens during the mandates? Where were all these sovereign citizens standing up against the tyranny of the government? Where was all the sovereign citizens when they voted on 15-1 unanimously for the CDC to jab our children up with this snake bite, to put the snake bite on the vaccine schedule? Where was all the sovereign citizens during all this stuff? Where they been? Why it should have been sovereign citizens out on every corner educating the people. It should have been sovereign citizens out on every single corner educating the people against this tyranny. I didn't see any sovereign citizens out in these streets trying to help the people. Where were the sovereign citizens? Because Joe Biden got on TV and said he's growing impatient and y'all better get this snake bite. So I'm trying to figure out where were the sovereign citizens to say, people, this is what you do. If y'all want to combat this, y'all do this. Where were the sovereign citizens? Or I'll tell you, they was in the courtroom doing stupid stuff like this. Let's continue.
Relentless commentary from others in the gallery.
What's the matter with you guys, huh?
The bailiff is finally done discussing the matter.
Stand up, please. Sir, treat others as you would wish to place. I'm being nice. Well, I'm not going to assist in my own arrest. So I don't. You should take your hands off that man. Please stand up.
A second bailiff comes to help escort Davis out, but again, he refuses to stand.
I'm not going to assist in my own arrest. I'm not asking you to assist.
Now listen, I ain't gonna lie. I like this tactic. I'm not going to assist in my own arrest. So basically, he just lets his body go limp. And listen, I thought this was actually hilarious though. If y'all want to arrest me, y'all gotta do all the work. So he ain't fighting back. He just not doing nothing. I thought it was funny. Let's continue.
Please do not hurt him.
Instead of dragging Davis out of the courtroom, the bailiffs use a wheelchair.
Just leaving you alone now.
As Davis is wheeled out, the group continues to insult the bailiffs.
They've considered like a real job when we're on these violence against people.
Despite their protests, the court has authority to make rules about conduct in the courtroom. So a short time later, the judge returned to the courtroom and sentenced Bo Davis to 5 days in jail for contempt of court.
I didn't know you were going to take my picture. I got a haircut.
Good one. I'm glad you can make jokes.
Meet the man in the fur cap, 21-year-old Robert Peterson. He's the person filming this footage as he enters the Kootenai County Courthouse in Idaho.
That has to go through the X-ray machine if you want to come in this building.
Peterson is a hearing for a minor traffic infraction, riding his bicycle at night without a light. But from the moment he steps inside the door, it's clear this won't be a typical security check.
And I'd just like to know where your warrant is.
I don't need it's clearly posted on the entrance building.
What? Clearly posted that I have to forfeit my right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure?
Into this building.
Yeah, every person is. I'm not a person. I'm a man.
I would say this too. Pick your battles, right? So if you're going to pull this sovereign citizen stuff, make sure it's worth it. Riding your bike without a light on it at night, you probably shouldn't use it for that. But he wants to prove a point. I'm not a person. I'm a man. So again, you're going into their courtrooms. So again, if you're a sovereign citizen, you don't comply with nothing they got going on. That's you truly being, meaning I'm not going to court. I'm not listening to y'all. That's a true sovereign citizen. Y'all are trying to be sovereign and comply with the rules of it doesn't work like that. It's either you sovereign or you not. One of the two. These folks is actually going to court. And if you're truly sovereign, why would you go to court? Because the rules and regulations of the land don't apply to you. So why would you even go to court? Oh, okay. Let's continue.
And more specifically, a free man. Peterson considers himself a sovereign citizen.
I'm not subject to your jurisdiction, and the court has already confirmed that. I'm here for one purpose. All right.
You can submit or you can leave.
That's fine. I mean, I'll do that, but you will be charged a bill.
Charged a bill? Rather than escalating the situation, one of the bailiffs decides to play along.
You will be served a bill. I don't have any weapons. I didn't come here to raise a ruckus.
After clearing security, Peterson finds a seat at the rear of the courtroom and continues filming.
So there are no cameras in court.
Excuse me?
There are
And this is what folks don't understand. Once you go into that courtroom, you consent to the rules. Just like when a person goes to your house, they got to consent to your rules. If you don't want to consent to the rules of the court, then don't go to the court. But you can't go to the court and enforce your own rules when the courts already have rules you consent to. Because guess what? He could have not gone to court. He could avoid the whole process. All these sovereign citizens don't have to go to court. You ain't got to go to court. Just be out there, be sovereign on your own, and hopefully they don't catch you. But the crazy part is you consent to the rules. If someone gets in, like if you get into an Uber, that Uber isn't your car. Meaning when you get into the Uber, there's a code of conduct you got to follow. And the driver has a code of conduct. So Uber has a code of conduct and the driver. So that means when you get in somebody's car as an Uber driver, you got two rules to follow, two sets of rules. One from Uber, the company, and one from the driver. So that means if you don't want to follow the rules, don't get into Uber. But you can't get into Uber and say, I'm sovereign, now I can piss on the back seat. It's not how that works. That is not how that works. Let's continue.
No cameras in the courtroom.
Yeah, there is.
No, you have to put that away.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Under what authority?
You have to have a court order from a judge before you can have a camera in the courtroom.
Okay, well, I'm going to capture
No, you can't.
this on video.
You got to turn it off.
It's for both of our protection.
Well, you have to turn it off.
No, thank you.
Enter bailiff number 2.
Shut the camera off now.
No, thank you. I do not consent to you touching me or seizing my property, so you need to
Shut
back
the
up.
camera off now.
I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm holding you accountable because you're about to overstep your bounds.
The bailiffs then decide to clear the courtroom and question Peterson directly.
What's your first and last name?
I don't have a last name.
You don't have a last name?
No.
What's your first name?
I don't have a first name either. I've got a name. My name is Robert. You can call me Robert.
As you can see, this bailiff keeps his sense of humor about the situation.
What are you? Are you human?
I'm a man.
You're human?
I'm a man, yes.
Can I see your Idaho state license?
No, I don't have one.
You don't have one?
My person does, but I don't.
With the situation seemingly diffused,
Come on in, folks.
the bailiffs usher everyone back into the courtroom. Well, except for one person.
Excuse me.
Camera.
Excuse me. You're blocking my freedom of movement.
I am.
All right. Well, P. Barnes, you just admitted to me that you're violating my rights.
No, I'm not. You can't come in with the camera.
Again, if you want to enter into the courtroom, then you have to follow the courtroom rules. If you don't want to follow the rules, then don't go in there. This is if you want to try to sneak into China, it's like I'm a sneak into China, but I don't want to be under communism. That's not how that works. So again, to all my sovereign citizens, if you want to be sovereign, you got to be sovereign from the whole process. You got to not honor the laws, not honor the consequences, not honor the judges, not honor the courts, not honor the states, not honor any of it. If you're truly sovereign, it don't apply to you. Let's continue.
Well, you're violating my rights. And this is also freedom of the press.
From behind you.
This is also freedom of the press. I mean, I don't know what the hell law book you're reading, man, but it doesn't apply to me. Why are you worried about cameras? Because you want to do something wrong? Because you want to do something wrong? Because if it's against the rules, that means it's because somebody intends on wronging somebody else because they're afraid of being held accountable. P. Barnes.
It's a nice speech, but you're still not coming in.
Well, please step aside. I'm going in.
No, you're not going in.
Don't touch me.
You're not going in, sir.
Let the record show that you just battered me.
Step back.
And you're using...
Step back.
After Peterson refuses to step back, Chief Bailiff Pete Barnes fires his taser.
And you're using... Stop, please. I'm not doing anything wrong. Hey, you know what? You guys are really overstepping your bounds right now.
Put the cuffs on.
What are you arresting me for?
Hey, hold up.
The answer to that,
Hold up. Listen, he went from talking like a sovereign citizen to squealing like a stuck hog. Y'all heard him hollering and squealing? That man said, back up, hit him with that taser, his whole tool chain. He started screaming and hollering, talking about, I do anything. Listen. This is what the sovereign thing gets you in court. It gets you on the ground squealing and hollering like a stuck pig. That's what it gets you. He hit him with that taser. He cooked him real quick. Had him on that rotisserie grill. Let's watch it again, man. That was hilarious. Let's watch it again.
Sir.
Let the record show that you just battered me.
Step back.
And you're using.
Step back.
After Peterson refuses to step back, Chief Bailiff Pete Barnes fires his taser.
And you're using. Stop, please. I'm not doing anything wrong. Hey, you know what? You guys are really overstepping your bounds right now.
Put the cuffs on him.
Put the cuffs on. What are you arresting me for?
The answer to that question? Peterson's charged with 3 counts of battery and 1 count of contempt of court. He would later enter an Alford plea, meaning he didn't admit to committing a crime, but acknowledged there was likely enough evidence to convict him. Jail time was waived as part of the plea deal, and he was ordered to pay a fine for his original charge of riding a bike at night without a light.
So that man went through all that sovereign citizenship stuff just to end up paying a fine anyway. He done went through all of that, all of this, just to pay the fine in the end anyway, just to make a plea and pay the fine anyway. You know how ridiculous that is? You know how dumb that is? He did all that just to pay the fine. The original fine that could have got thrown out. It's a ticket for a bike without a light. I really believe the judge probably would have just threw it out. Like, right, and tased. Now he done pissed on himself. He did all this just to prove he was a sovereign citizen. Just in the end to prove that him being a sovereign citizen didn't mean anything. You still paid the fine. He wanted attention. Let's continue.
Keisha Johnson.
Now to Louisville, Kentucky, and the Jefferson County District Court. An arraignment hearing is underway for 18-year-old Keisha Johnson, who's charged with possession of marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and tampering with physical evidence.
Now we got Keisha Johnson on here. Now, I'm gonna say this right now about Keisha. Most of the time when we hear about Keisha, it's usually never good. But I'm gonna just say this. How do you all feel this thing gonna work out with Keisha? Y'all think it's gonna end? Do y'all think Keisha gonna pull the sovereign citizen card and be successful? Y'all think Keisha gonna be successful? Is her method gonna be better? Do you think Keisha will have a better outcome than the other gentlemen? So let's see how Keisha fares in this process.
Come on.
18-year-old Keisha Knight without a light.
Keisha Johnson.
Now to Louisville, Kentucky, and the Jefferson County District Court. An arraignment hearing is underway for 18-year-old Keisha Johnson, who's charged with possession of marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and tampering with physical evidence.
Come on up here, ma'am.
I would like to stand here.
When called upon, Johnson decides to address the judge, Sean Delahanty, from the back of the court.
No, stand at this podium.
Awesome.
I get,
Tell me
Man, you have to come up here. We can't record
what
your
laws
back.
you guys operate under?
the laws of the state of Kentucky.
Oh, yes. As in like amateur law, common law, statutory?
come up here and stand at this podium. I have to get you on the record so that we can see you with your argument.
Okay, well, for on the record,
Again, if you go into the court, you are already consenting to the rules of the court. So what Keisha should have did was not gone to the court. You can't go in there and say, I'm going to enforce my rules in your courtroom. That's not how that works. I don't know where people got this from. But let's listen to Keisha. And Keisha had a good approach. Keisha said, I'm not going to approach the bench. I'm going to stand back here and talk to you. She didn't want to cross over that threshold. Because she knows once she cross over that threshold, she got to quote unquote consent to the courts. But you're going to consent anyway because you're already in the courtroom. Let's continue.
reserve my right before crossing this bench. Yes, as in like amateur law.
Come up here and stand at this podium. I have to get you on the record so that we can see you with your argument.
Okay, well, for on the record, I reserve my right before crossing this bench.
Johnson's refusing to cooperate because she's part of a sovereign citizens movement, which rejects institutions and believe they aren't bound by the country's laws.
Well, Mr. Johnson, I really don't want to create some big scene.
Well,
hang on a second. I do not want to lock you up, but I may very well have to. I need for you to come up here and stand at this podium. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. You have to come up here and stand at this podium.
As the bizarre scene plays out, there's another disruption in the back of the courtroom when a bailiff tells 36-year-old Jenna Vondran to stop filming on her cell phone.
Show me the law. Show me the law.
In Kentucky, judges are...
So now it's a woman in the back of the courtroom. She's 36 years old. She's filming. And again, they're doing this for attention because they want to put this video up somewhere. And they were thinking, oh, it's going to work. So she's back there filming. Now, this is what they do. If it works, they'll say, see, this works. If it doesn't work, they're going to say that the courts violated something. It's really a straw man argument for real. But so Keisha's in the front and the girl's in the back. So this is obviously staged. She's filming, and you're going to see what happens next.
Given broad discretion on allowing filming in their courtrooms.
This is my property. Show me the law.
All right.
Show me the law.
Chris?
Show me the law.
Chris?
Show me the law.
Go ahead and lock her up. Go ahead and take her into custody.
Watch as the judge looks down and presses his panic button to summon additional deputies to the courtroom.
What are you doing? There's no right. You have no right.
You sit over there. Nothing about
You have no right. No right for that.
Yeah, I'm not finished with her yet. All right.
After a quick reset, the original defendant, Keisha Johnson, finally comes forward to the podium.
So the friend went from show me the law, to hollering like a stuck pig. So you see a pattern here. You see the pattern is they talk all this stuff and then they get hands put on them and then thrown in. Like it's the same story. So the sovereign citizen thing needs to be revamped to where when you go to court, it actually works, because it doesn't really work. And so now you see Keisha, she saw her friend get snatched up, and her friend wasn't even there for nothing. Her friend was just filming, but she saw her friend get snatched up. Now Keisha's thinking, okay, do I want to be sovereign and go to jail, or do I want to just get through this and just pay this ticket? I'm just going to go ahead and pay this ticket. So now Keisha goes to the podium. Keisha got some sense now. Keisha said, let me pick good sense over being sovereign today. I can always be sovereign tomorrow, but right now, let me be Keisha. Let's continue. Somebody said, you all can't see it on Instagram, but the lady was a 36-year-old white lady. Somebody said that was Keisha's adopted parents, and they put her up to this. I don't know. I don't know. Somebody else said that might be her white girlfriend. I don't know. I don't know what they got going on, but it's a mess going on though. Could be her. Probably could be her girlfriend though. That's what it probably is. But let's continue.
Charged with possession of marijuana, tampering with physical evidence, and possession of drug paraphernalia.
I don't understand any of that.
All right. Well, you're charged with illegally possessing marijuana. You are.
While the judge's attention is back with Johnson, deputies in the hallway are still trying to get control of Vondran, the woman with the cell phone.
I don't understand any of those charges.
Well, there's not a whole lot more.
Again, you got black girl magic at the podium, but you got sovereign white magic in the back. Now you hear sovereign white magic in the back, and she's squealing again like a stuck pig right before a big feast. She back there hollering and squealing and screaming. First she talking about show me the law. Now she's squealing, show me the law, then back to squealing. So clearly, when it comes to this, that law stuff go out the window and you start squealing. Now you got Keisha back at the podium. Keisha looking back like, I don't understand any of this, but she hears her friend squealing. So let's see what happens.
There's not a whole lot more I can do to try to explain to you.
When trying to play clueless doesn't work, Johnson goes back on the offensive.
Let's start here. Can you guys prove jurisdiction? Prove jurisdiction because I come in under common law. Prove your jurisdiction that you have jurisdiction over me. Prove jurisdiction. A court cannot proceed until you guys prove jurisdiction. Show me your jurisdiction. Show me your law.
All right.
Now she said, show me your jurisdiction. Prove you have jurisdiction over me as I'm standing in your courtroom. Think about what she's saying. Prove you have jurisdiction over me as I'm standing in your courtroom after you told me to come to the podium, and I did. He doesn't have to prove jurisdiction because you're proving it for him. You're in his courtroom doing what he tells you to do. He ain't got to prove it. You're proving it. This is silly. But let's continue.
Right. There.
Back on the offensive.
Let's start here. Can you guys prove jurisdiction? Prove jurisdiction because I come in under common law. Prove your jurisdiction that you have jurisdiction over me. Prove jurisdiction. A court cannot proceed until you guys prove jurisdiction. Show me your jurisdiction. Show me your law.
All right. There are all of our laws are codified in the Kentucky Revised Statute.
Show me jurisdiction. Show me the law.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, that doesn't prove that you have jurisdiction.
Okay, so what else?
Again, we've seen some very patient judges. The judges are bad, the system is bad, but we've seen some very patient and respectful judges. She asked this man for the law, and he literally put out the law book, and she don't care about the law book. She don't care. So he said, well, here go the law book right here. All she could have said, asked the babe to go get the law book so she can read it. She said she don't care about it. She said, what is that? She don't care about that. So clearly, she's not here to get the law. She's not here to get understanding. She's here to make a scene. You can't, again, people, once you go into that courtroom, you are consenting to the rules of the courtroom. How do we know this? Because on the front door of the court, on the courts, they already got rules. What you can bring in there, what you can't bring in there, what you can do, it's all. Each time you read them rules and walk past them, even if you walk past the rules, you still got to abide by them when you enter into that place. So what they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. So guess what? When you're doing something, you must know the laws behind it. That is your job. So now when you're in the courtroom, now ain't the time to be a sovereign citizen because you're saying, I relinquish me being a sovereign citizen because I'm in what? Your court. And this young lady, he gives her the laws, but she don't want to read it because she's 18 and she always hide. It's too much like right to get there and get the book and read it and skim through it and see what he's talking about. She don't want to do that. So let's see what happens.
me jurisdiction showed me the law.
There you go.
Okay, that doesn't prove that you have jurisdiction.
Okay, so what else? And now, if there's a simple way for me to prove jurisdiction to you, I'm going to ask the deputy to go ahead and take you into custody.
Under what charges?
Under
what charges?
You are disrupting my court. All right, we're going to pass her case to tomorrow.
You guys are being mistreated and it's wrong. Under common law, under the United States Constitution. And if they keep doing this and let us.
So the judge said, well, let me show you jurisdiction. Bailiffs, take her to jail. Now listen now. She asked him to show her the law. He showed her the book. She didn't want to read it. Then she said, now prove jurisdiction. So think about this now. First you say, show me the law. That's step one. You don't want that. Now you're going to show me jurisdiction. I'll show it to you. Bailiffs, grab her, take her to jail. That's jurisdiction. But guess what? He couldn't do that if you weren't in the courtroom. Again, once you go into the courtroom, you got to abide by their rules. The judge has to make a ruling. You are subject to you're saying, I consent to the judge in the court. So Keisha now is back there with her friend, and now they both going to be hollering. Hold on, Instagram. Let me come right back. Hold on, IG. Hold on, YouTube. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I'm almost done, y'all. Okay. Okay, so let's continue.
Keisha Johnson's arrested and charged with contempt of court. Fast forward to the next day, and she's about to face a new judge.
Keisha Johnson, 56.
This time, Johnson's represented by an attorney.
I don't know how familiar you are with this, but this
I'm
case.
familiar. Podium flipper.
Okay.
I've heard a little bit about it from
Okay.
yesterday. All right, so this is Miss Johnson. We'll note that she's in custody today. She's brought over and present.
And she'd like to make a statement to the court.
I had time to think about it, and I believe and I've learned that I need to represent myself in a respectable manner while in front of the judge.
Okay, so obviously that behavior will not be tolerated. That's why you ended up where you are.
Keisha Johnson's found guilty of contempt of court and is released from jail after serving 1 day. On her original charges, 2 were dropped, but she's found guilty of possession of marijuana, fined $185. As for Jenna Vaughn,
Now, again, all Keisha had to do was go into court, get those charges dropped, probably have one reduced, possibly whatever, pay a little fine and be done with it. Now you done been held in contempt of court. You done spent a day in jail. You still got 2 charges dropped. You still had to pay the fine, and you still got found guilty for the weed possession. So again, all you did was compound situation. Learn to pick your battles, people. Learn to pick what's worth fighting over and what's not. Now, Keisha learned a valuable lesson because when she came out, she wasn't talking about no law. She spent that night in that cold jail. She came out with a renewed mind. You know, when you go to church, they say you got to renew your mind. Came out with a renewed mind. She went in that jailhouse and got a word, got a revelation. She was on that little thin bunk, that little thin mattress on that bunk, and she laid down and she talked to God. And God said, "You ain't sovereign, baby." She said, "God said, I'll make you sovereign. You sovereign in my kingdom, not the world system. When you go to that courtroom tomorrow, I'll let you got some sense. She said, yes, Lord. She went to sleep, came up in the morning with a new attitude. Now, had she went to the judge respectfully, he could have threw everything out. Because she's 18 years old, he might have asked her, are you in school? What do you want to be? Now, listen, y'all, they paint these judges as bad people, but judges are human beings. Judges are humans. And we've seen judge after judge that was very respectful. What's the word I'm looking for? Respectful and got the word realistic, I guess. Accommodating, all these things these judges have been. But Keisha learned the lesson that every battle ain't meant to be fought. You got found with the weed, you were smoking the weed, just go in there and pay the fine, or possibly they may have an option of drug treatment program where none of, you know what I'm saying, where you go away with a clean record. Anything. There's just so many options when you go in there, like you have some sense. But again, you can't be a revolutionary inside these people's system. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. Not how it works. So all these celebrities out there being revolutionaries is not real because they in Hollywood entertainment. You part of their system. It don't work. And I'm gonna get on Kanye next time, but it don't work. Now let's see what happened to her friend.
Statement to the court.
I had time to think about it, and I believe and I've learned that I need to represent myself in a respectful manner while in front of the judge.
Okay, so obviously that behavior will not be tolerated. That's why you ended up where you are.
Keisha Johnson's found guilty of contempt of court and is released from jail after serving 1 day. On her original charges, 2 were dropped, but she's found guilty of possession of marijuana and fined $185. As for Jenna Vondran, who was arrested after filming in the courtroom,
all right, go ahead and lock her up.
She's found guilty of disorderly conduct and serves 1 day in jail.
Thanks for being a fan of Court Cam.
Now imagine you go to the courtroom and you just go in as a spectator and you end up being found guilty of disorderly conduct and you just spend 1 day in jail. And guess what? You could have just sat in the car. You could have just sat in the car. So now you done been found guilty of disorderly conduct and you spent a day in jail. Was it worth it? No. Does she look happy? No. So I'm not telling anyone to not be a sovereign citizen. I'm just saying you got to show me where it works. Because what I see is if you violate the law, you're going to get found guilty like everybody else. You're going to jail like everybody else or prison. So I would advise people to not break the law, to be in compliance with the laws of the land. I don't mind having a driver's license. I don't mind driving in my car. I don't mind not traveling. It don't bother me. The police don't bother me. So I don't make decisions based on what the police are going to do. They don't bother me. So in my world, the police are there to help me, to serve me. So again, I hope y'all enjoy this live today. I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll be back maybe on Sunday. Be back on Sunday. But I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. And oh shoot, hold on. Cancel. I love y'all so much. And if you listen to Sean King, stop. He's working for them people. He's an agent. Thank you, Bree. Y'all like the video on YouTube. And I thank y'all. I might post the second part of the live on YouTube that I recorded. I mean, on Instagram, the full live will be up. But thanks for the sticker, super sticker, McKay. But I love y'all and thank y'all so much. And I will see you all in a few days.